Welcome to JD's Prep. All right, so this is a few questions about giant tortoises living in the Galapagos Islands. Those are the islands that Darwin studied the finches on. So it is thought that the original ancestors of today's giant tortoises came from the mainland of South America. These animals left and drifted in the ocean to the islands where they began to live, reproduce, and evolve. Each of the islands has a different habitat, so each species varies in shell shape and body structure. Information about two of these species of giant tortoises and their habitats is found in the table below. So we have a dome-shaped tortoise and a saddleback tortoise. Okay. The dome-shaped tortoise lives on an island that gets a lot of rain, lots of available food. Okay, these tortoises have shorter necks. They don't have to reach for food. As opposed to the saddleback tortoises, they live on a dry island. There's limited available plant food, and they have long necks and legs so that they can reach for food, which is scarce. All right, so which statement best explains the differences observed in the tortoises on each island? Okay, let's go through the answers. So each tortoise adapted to its environment during its lifetime. That's definitely not true. This would have happened over many, many generations. Sudden mutations, again, we're not talking about a sudden change. So that eliminates those two. The tortoises grew different structures on the available food. That again is kind of, it's insinuating that the tortoises adapted really quickly and just grew a new structure. So number 4, different adaptations gave some tortoises a better chance of survival. That statement speaks well to the process of natural selection, which is happening, of course, over many, many generations, and is the process through which we see the variation that is described here. All right, so the next question asks us, when the saddleback tortoises extend their long necks out of the shell, they are unprotected from attack. So because of that, scientists hypothesize that during the evolution of the tortoise, of this specific tortoise, they had few predators. Which statement best supports this hypothesis? So we're not saying that saddleback tortoises were not part of the food chain. More predators would have mean less tortoises, and competition between the predators and the tortoises were not going to result in those type of adaptations, but predators would have killed the tortoises with long necks, leaving more tortoises with short necks. So that there is a statement that supports this hypothesis by scientists that, that they had few predators when they evolved their long necks. So if a group of saddleback tortoises was brought to an island inhabited by dome-shaped tortoises, could both species survive? Circle yes or no and support your answer. So with a question like this, when you're asked to pick a side and support your answer, you can probably go either way as long as you're accurately supporting it. So if you wanted to say yes, which is totally reasonable, you could talk about the fact that these tortoises have different niches. They eat food at different levels and could eat separate food, different food. We've already been told that it's if they go to the island inhabited by the dome-shaped tortoises, we know that there's abundant amount of food available. Okay, so it's quite possible that both species could survive. If you wanted to say no, which again would be reasonable, you could talk about them competing for food and possibly one species winning. You could talk about how the saddleback tortoise isn't adapted to live in that new environment, right? It's very adapted to its specific environment. And we already know that the saddleback tortoises, when they extend their long necks out of the shell, they're unprotected from attack. So if we are moving them to a new environment with different predators, we might see that they aren't able to survive as well. So again, there's lots of evidence to back up either a yes or a no. You just need to make sure that you are being clear with your answer. All right, thank you for using JD's Prep.